Now, this is a subject that I can talk about for hours and days. I have a lot of fun with this particular topic, this particular thing. Um, and I'm gonna try to do my best to, I don't know, give a good synopsis in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. November 22nd, 2003, we will be celebrating the 60th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Why such the glitter or candor or the happiness? Not because of the death of a president, but because it is a historical moment. I think up until that time, if I remember correctly, there had only been three assassinations: Lincoln, Garfield, McKinley, and JFK was the fourth. I think you can't be a historian and can't get that one right. But yeah. So outside of Abraham Lincoln, the JFK, well, no, I would say that the JFK assassination is the most talked about assassination in history, followed closely by Abraham Lincoln because of everything that came after it, because of all the conspiracy that has come with both. But definitely, the Lincoln assassination is a great story in its own. But the JFK assassination is probably, I don't know, a epic because of so many different variables. And so, in 2 days or so from now, we will be celebrating, I shouldn't say celebrating, but we will be registering in our heads as historians this particular moment and everything that has shaped or shifted how history, in some cases, has been changed. Because in my opinion, the one event that shifted the course of history happened in the Balkans in 1914 with the assassination of Franz Duke Ferdinand. Those two bullets killing the Archduke and his wife altered the course of history and altered the lives of probably what would have never been heard of in the political arena. The Kennedy, well, I shouldn't say in the political arena, but may not have affected John Fitzgerald Kennedy in a way that it did, because Joseph P. Jr. would have probably been president during that time. But because of the Balkans, because of Archduke Ferdinand, Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. gets in a plane and flies off, and that blows up, and boom, JFK is president. JFK is the next in line. He becomes the heir apparent per se, and becomes president of the United States. History is this beautiful domino effect, cause and effect. JFK not being assassinated November 22nd, 1963, Vietnam looks different. Civil rights looks different. Martin Luther King Jr. looks different. The Black Panthers look different. The 70s look different. Because if JFK is not assassinated, Malcolm X more than likely doesn't make the statement, chickens coming home to roost, and he doesn't go to Hajj at that time. And he's not, kind of rolled off into the sunset in the nation. So Malcolm X lives a bit longer, or would be somewhat alive into the 20th century. If JFK isn't assassinated, Martin Luther King Jr. Does get the Civil Rights Act passed, but there's a difference there's a difference in how America, I guess you could say, spies on him, because JFK and J. Edgar Hoover didn't get along. So Martin maybe has security on April 4th, because if we know the story, the security for Martin, Martin's bedroom is on the opposite side than what it usually on, and all this other stuff is going on that day. There are so many different variables, so many different variants of history, just because of Lee Harvey Oswald, or supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald, or just because of Dallas. And so JFK's assassination causes us to really, or should cause us to really look at how one thing can rewrite history, or write a modern history that we have. If JFK is not assassinated, Lyndon Johnson probably doesn't become president. I would say that, what's his name? I would say that Richard Nixon would become president, but it'd be under totally different circumstances. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think Gerald Ford becomes president. I don't think, I do think Jimmy Carter could have become president, but Gerald Ford definitely not. Don't need him. I do think Ronald Reagan becomes president, but then there's still a difference in there too, because most people don't realize that Ronald Reagan was a Democrat before he became a Republican. And who's to say that JFK couldn't have altered his course? There's so many different variables because of the events that happened November 22nd, 1963. And we could literally spend the entire night talking about those variables. Trust me, I would love that conversation with somebody, because that rabbit hole goes very, very deep. But the issue that we have is that if you don't study the mistakes or study those moments, you repeat them. And one thing I will say that the Secret Service is great at doing is adapting and overcome. The Secret Service wasn't originally the protector of the president. The Secret Service used to be the protector of the currency. So only, I think, after Abe Lincoln or Garfield, somewhere around in there, did the Secret Service actually becomes a protective agency for the President of the United States. That being said, I think November 22nd, 1963 is the last time that the Secret Service took directives from the president. Because prior to 1963, November 22nd, a president could say, hey, look, you can't be, I don't want you in the car. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be open to the public. After 1963, I think, no, Mr. President, we're going to tell you what to do within our borders. And I don't think of any other president challenged that. But if that being said, the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt is another example of what changes and alters the course of history and the course of how we view people. So November 22nd, 1963. I heard one person say it's the day that America lost its innocence. I don't think so. I think it was the first time in history that Americans could see with their own eyes and in their own time history being written.